Hello, Emanuel Shahaf.
Hello, hello.
Identity, the quest for a better future for Israel. If you would emphasize, we're conducting this interview a few days before the new coming election. What message do you think the Israeli people are not recognizing regarding this campaign?
I think we don't recognize here how close we are to an abyss, how close we are to a serious deterioration in our situation with the Palestinians. I think that nobody's talking about it, and even though the situation is in the media because of the IDF operations in Shechem and in Jenin, the issue is not discussed with the gravity that it needs to, and also not with the urgency. Okay, because we are really close to a complete breakdown of the situation in the territories.
Complete breakdown?
Complete breakdown. The Palestinian authorities on the verge of a breakdown. Things are breaking up into militias, Jewish militias, Palestinian militias. The IDF is hanging on and keeping things under a lid, but there's no doubt that unless something seriously will be done, and there's absolutely no sign that it will be done, this will go over into Israel proper, and we're going to have to deal with it. And I don't know how that's going to work out.
So you're practically visualizing a new possible coming intifada?
Yes. That's what it is. Okay, I'm not the only one. Okay, we heard it from Ksenia Svetlova. She's a very good journalist who's covering the Palestinian scene, and she said it's about to come.
Because people are feeling despair.
People are in despair. There's nothing on the horizon. The economic situation is deteriorating. The violence is increasing. Our violence, settler violence, IDF violence, Palestinian violence. This is going south.
You know, when you're talking about this kind of situation, now let's put that maybe, we wouldn't know, Smotrich might become the new minister that is responsible of the Israeli defense.
Yeah,
what practically does it mean if that happens?
It means basically that he will be the sovereign in the West Bank, and the National Religious Party will basically the Zionist, what's it called, the religious Zionism will determine activities on the West Bank, settling activities, and will be basically no holds barred on settling, and the result will definitely be grave in terms of Palestinian resistance.
Do you think that it might be something that can be done, or it just out of a campaign? Do you think that if Benjamin Netanyahu becomes the new Prime Minister of Israel in the coming election, he will go with that kind of new Minister of Defense?
It could happen if the Religious Zionism Party gets enough mandates. If they get 11, 12 mandates, I don't think it will happen, but if they get 14, 15, 16, this might happen, although of course I can't be sure. This is politics, and you never know what happens in politics in the end.
When you're talking about this kind of something that is happening, what is deteriorating towards the Israeli society? How would you say that a person that 25 years ago was basically asking for the life of Yitzhak Rabin, nowadays is about to be a minister in the new government?
It's a deterioration of values. We were not able to maintain the relatively lofty values that were promoted under the times of when the Labour Party was leading the country. Also, even the Labour Party started with settling the West Bank, but things were kept within limits. And the situation has clearly deteriorated. The combination of settlers with religious Zionism is a very bad combination, and this is out of control, and we won't be able to control it if these elections don't. If these elections bring religious Zionism into power with Netanyahu, we're going to be in bad shape.
Do you think that all the means that the IDF, the Shabak, the Mossad are handling, managing in the territories might ease up the possible new coming intifada?
They're helpful as long as everything is under control. The intelligence is good, the technical means are fantastic, everything is great as long as everything is under control. The moment things go out of control and there's too many things happening at the same time, all these methods are not useless, but they have very limited use because it's just too much information coming in too short a time to be, all you realize all of a sudden that things are breaking down. Okay, that's what you know. But that you can even tell without the technical means. Okay, just looking at the situation now, you can see that the situation is breaking down. We're breaking into militias in the West Bank, Palestinian militias, Jewish militias. The army is there. This is a bad situation.
And it's something that, from your perspective, already happened. There is an example that happened, for instance, in Europe in past days, that all the technical means practically were not to be able to turn the picture.
Remember the breakdown of East Germany in 1989 when the East German Secret Service had fantastic intelligence, had fantastic technical means, and tried to break down, tried to see what's going on, but was completely swamped with all the information and wasn't able to do anything with it in the end. Okay, they just everything, all the arteries were clogged, everything, and the system failed because it just wasn't possible. And we're going to be in a situation like that too. The system will fail; it will all clog, and there will be an intifada. And then all the technology, it's useful here and there to conduct operations, but the main issue is how to do this long term, not how to finish a day's work.
You mentioned Europe. There was an idea, an agreement that can bridge between the culture of Israel and the funds of Europe,
yes.
But it didn't happen.
Well, one of the agreements, we have a very good agreement on science with Europe. In the science agreement, the West Bank was taken out of the agreement, and that we agreed to. In the culture agreement, which was supposed to be signed, for some reason, probably for political reasons of Bennett at the time and Shaked, they refused to leave the West Bank out of the agreement, and as a result, the agreement was not signed. But this is going to be the future. We're going to have more and more problems, and more things are going to be different because the West Bank is not part of what's going on.
This is regarding the agreement that was not signed, but the upside of this report, there is an agreement that it's about to be signed between Israel
and Lebanon.
And
Finally, the agreement is coming to fruition. All the obstacles which were put into its way by Israeli politicians who claimed that this was not a good agreement for Israel were removed. The Supreme Court sanctioned the agreement, and it's going to be signed any day now.
Do you think that this kind of agreement can happen with more countries, for instance, Israel and Indonesia, or Israel and more countries?
Well, this kind of agreement is a special agreement. It's a border agreement, and so it's particularly for countries we have a border with. But any agreement we sign, either with Palestinians or with Arab countries, improves our situation vis-a-vis other Muslim countries, and therefore we have to work on them.
Do you think that the new coming book in Arabic that is going to be published, translated by your story, Identity, The Quest for Israel's Better Future, do you think that now the Arabic version that is coming What is your perspective? What change would you like that this will help?
I hope that the Arabic version will contribute to the spread of the federation proposal as one of the alternatives with which we can look at to resolve the conflict with the Palestinians. I think the way it's written as a personal story, which moves into a solution how to deal with the conflict, is something people can relate to, and I'd be very happy that if many people read it in one of the three languages.
The Hebrew one, the English one, and now the Arabic
one. Yeah.
Emanuel Shahaf, I want to thank you very much.
Thank you.